And this is Donald Tardy. You are listening to Obituary on Metal Wani. Turn it up.
How are we doing, guys?
We are doing real good. Me and Donald are both here.
Oh, wonderful. Looks like a full-fledged Florida death metal assault awaits next month via Relapse. So, how excited are you guys to make sure, okay, we are ready to annihilate you?
Well, I mean, we certainly have put a lot into this record. I mean, we're going on, over 3 years of, if not writing it, practicing it, recording it, mixing it, trying to kind of come up with our own record label, and then building a partnership with Relapse. And it has been a lot of work. So now that it's done and things are on its way, I tell you, we're pretty excited about the record.
Amazing. And it took you guys 5 years. I mean, the last album came out in 2009 and now in 2014. So this 5-year gap has been basically too long. So, I mean, why did it take such a long time?
Just to anger you guys.
That's cool.
I mean, we're never a band that has, sit around and think we got to do an album every 2 years or every 3 years. I mean, it was a long time between, back until Back from the Dead came out. Frozen in Time, I think, was even longer. And it wasn't a planned thing. We've just been kind of busy running around and kind of kept getting pulled away. And then, writing this album, we would take some time off to write, and we'd all wind up going fishing and blow off writing. So it took a while. It backed us up about a year because we just tried to figure out how to release this thing on our own and put a lot of time into that, and that pulled us away from getting things done. And
that's cool. Now, John, we discussed earlier, and you said before you guys wanted to, head to the studio and start recording, you wanted to feel the songs, the vibe of the songs by playing these live. So after playing so many shows, how does the band feel right now, playing this few material live?
Yeah, well, it's awesome. I mean, I remember talking to you actually about that. And I just know we look back at some of those albums, and I know Donald says all the time, he goes, man, if I could go back and play, I do such a cooler fill here than what I did on the album. Or, somebody always has something that, if I could redo it now after we've played it a million times, I could do it much better kind of thing. So we really did, we wrote a handful of these songs, we practiced them a lot, and then now we've been playing 3 of them, out there on the road, and we were, playing some of them before we even had them recorded. So I think it makes a big difference, give you every opportunity to kind of let your mind run free there to come up with cool ideas and really go over what you're doing a lot.
Absolutely. Now, Obituary is all about playing live. You are a live band. Your music comes across, it's basically built and designed to play live. Now, with these 3 tracks which you have played, how was the response from the fans? Because that is very important.
It's been all, I mean, it's kind of actually even overwhelming for us. I mean, the internet's a beautiful thing because, I mean, we can play a song, and next thing you know, even before we can get off stage, that thing's up there on YouTube somewhere, and people are listening to it.
Right.
But it's a cool feeling to kind of show up someplace, go to play a new song, and people already know it. The album's not out yet, and people are like literally just they're waiting to hear those songs, and they've only heard like clips of them and stuff on YouTube. So I think they're really kind of digging it, and I think the 5 years was a pretty good amount of time to wait here because I think people are really just amped up and foaming at the mouth to hear this new record.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, as far as what I've heard from the album, it's got tons of meaty rhythms, like you mentioned earlier. So it looks like older you guys get, more you think about the material.
I don't know. We certainly get better looking.
and you're pushing Donald as well, because the more older he's getting, the more he's playing his double bass.
I tell you, he's getting faster in his feet, and they're making me do more and more singing. Something's not right here.
Not right. It's funny at this age how much faster my feet are than when I was even 18 years old. So I don't know what that means, but I guess that's a good thing. The future is bright with my feet.
you definitely got your work cut out on this album, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, and of course, you look at the songs that we wrote when we were 18 years old. And trying to relearn those from the classic set list was not a fun task. But again, with this new album, some of these songs I am not looking forward to playing live.
Absolutely. And what about you, John? Your vocals, I mean, there's a certain style of, on Obituary songs when we fans listen to your vocals. Now, I heard the visions in my head, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of John Tardy's classic Obituary vocals to some extent. So, how has been your approach this time for this album?
I mean, I don't know if my approach was really any different. I mean, I think I've just kind of changed a little bit maybe over the years. I kind of find myself kind of pronunciating a little bit more, and I think I'm a little bit more audible than I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of hear more and more of what I'm saying for sure, I think.
Right.
And then also, I mean, as you get older, I think my, actual songwriting, my lyric content is a little bit better than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Just some kind of thought-provoking stuff, nothing meant to be taken too seriously, but just a little combination of some cool stuff that is said and a little bit pronouncing things a little bit better. And then just overall, I mean, Visions in My Head, I mean, that's just a song that from start to end is just such a well-written song. It kind of goes through several emotions in one song, which is pretty cool, I think, the way that song rolls through itself.
That's amazing. Now, I read a few comments on YouTube. Now, all those trolls and stuff. So I read a few comments on your vocals that, no, we want John to go back to those 80s voice and those growls and those stuff. So how do you feel when you come across such opinions from your fans?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't sat and read too many of those. But then again, like everything we do, from the new artwork to any album you do, there's going to be people who like it, and there's going to be some people that don't like it.
True.
But it's just, I sit back and listen to it, and kind of, it's hard to imagine those songs being much heavier than they are, which is essentially what we try to do. Sometimes you sit back and it's ridiculously heavy. So I'm not sure what else they want out of me, but I do the best I can.
That's wonderful, brother. Now, with Terry and Kenny on board, what were their contributions on the album?
They were obvious. I mean, Donald, Trevor, and I wrote the album.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been here step by step the whole way. So there's lots of times that we're sitting out there and, maybe, we're sitting there listening with Terry and we're like, hey, do you think we kind of, how's it feeling going from this rhythm to this one of them? You think we should maybe 1 and 2? So they were out there and evolved with it. They both certainly had free reign to do, like Terry, to do some bass runs and slides wherever he kind of wanted. Kenny's job is a little bit more, because even though like the songwriting wise,
right,
like, some of those leads are kind of so much part of the song that, he is, in a sense, was, writing all those parts also. And I just think, with Kenny, I think we've just kind of hit the perfect line between technical and bar work, whereas maybe Ralph and James were a little bit more technical than some, and maybe Alan wasn't quite so technical and too much bar work. I think Kenny just falls right where we would really ideally like someone to be.
That's amazing. Let's talk about technology for a moment. I mean, production on this album, who has taken care of that? Or is it just self-produced by the band?
Yeah, we did it all ourselves.
Oh, that's amazing. And mixing and stuff?
All mixing and everything. We've done the last couple Obituary albums, and we did the Tardy Brothers. We did all the tracking here. But, this time around, we just kind of kept diving in it and mixing further and further. We none of us think that we're the greatest engineers or producers in the world, and at the end of the day, we kind of wimped out a little bit and sent a few songs off to a couple different producers, just to see what we would get back. And, everybody would send us back good stuff, but it was just all the little things about it that we didn't like.
Right.
And why, that took a few months to sit and go through, get people the music, let them mix back and forth with them, this the whole 9 yards. But that whole time, we would just every day keep opening up these songs, keep tweaking at them, quit messing with them. And we just got to the point where we just kind of liked what we had right here in our own studio, and we just rolled with it.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, the track which you released on YouTube, I kind of felt that the tom sounds are a bit different than how, I, as a fan, expect from Obituary. Or is it, like an unmastered version of the track that was released?
I'm not really sure what you heard. I mean, sometimes they release these super compressed files.
Right.
If it's just for listening over the internet and whatnot. So I don't really know what you heard. But I mean, obviously Donald spent a lot of time behind that desk, and the last thing he would let slide is some thin sounding toms. So I'm not really sure what you heard. But, when I sit out in our studio, those toms are just about as big as we can possibly get them.
Perfect. Now, looks like the end product, when we are going to get a copy, we are going to hear the final production of what the band has been doing.
There you go.
Absolutely. Now, guitar seems to be beefed up a lot on this track, and I really love that. Looking that hair-raising rhythms, which you mentioned last time when we had a chat, that you guys had to stop in the middle and say, when we're gonna play these tracks live, I don't know what's gonna happen. We're getting those goosebumps. So, you've been playing these tracks live. Do you still are stoked about playing the new material, and fans are like, damn, the riffs are amazing on the track?
They, it's really kind of what it all kind of starts with is just those rhythms, and then just me and DT just start stacking stuff on there and arranging songs how we all kind of feel fit. So, I mean, it's a team effort, but Trevor's tone is pretty ominous sounding. I think with the last record, we kind of hurt ourselves a little bit, only because Alan wasn't around, so we had Trevor play the songs twice.
Right.
And it's tough to get him to change his sound very much. So I think we wound it up with, almost like one sounding kind of guitar. The first thing you'll notice about this album is that Trevor and Kenny have very different sounding guitars.
Right.
And we did take a lot of time thinking about those and blending those things very much. Trevor's guitar pretty much wound up on the recording as is. I don't think we really put much of anything, if maybe just a little bit of EQ, but I mean, did not do very much to his sound at all.
Right.
But the blend between him and Kenny's guitar, I think, just really added a lot of dynamic to the guitar sound in whole.
That's absolutely true. Now, does it kind of suck when you see, your fans always want you to make material like you made in the 80s and the 90s? I mean, they don't want you to explore. They don't want you to grow as musicians.
I don't know. I mean, I understand that, I guess. I mean, when I bust out my Slayer stuff, I'm always grabbing my Rain and Blood or Owais albums too.
Right.
Not that I don't like their new stuff per se, but I'm always reaching for my old albums. And when I go see Slayer live, I want to hear them play Chemical Warfare too. So I get it. It is what it is. But I think our songs and our songwriting abilities, now are a lot different and better, in my opinion, than what they were back then. But it's when you're young and you listen to something for the first time, it just kind of sticks with you, and I get it.
That's absolutely true. Now, after the campaign which started and you guys were successful enough, and then you decided Relapse are going to be the distributors of the album. So fans kind of felt that the band is begging for stuff, which was really not the case, as I, being an Obituary fan, felt. Now, I'm sure you would have come across these statements as well.
Yeah, the first thing is, I've never heard of Kickstarter before we did it. I've never even heard of the thing before. So we kind of had a bunch of ideas going through our heads, and we were talking with some people, and they kind of had the idea that you guys might be able to raise some money through Kickstarter to get all these things off the ground that you want to do.
Right.
We had the More Sound DVD we wanted to do. We had the live stream that we wanted to do, and we wanted to release an album on our own that we wanted to do. And all that, I mean, you're looking at lots and lots of money to do that.
True.
But the Kickstarter thing certainly got us off the ground. It got us to finish a couple of these projects and to get us in the studio and this album recorded.
Right.
So part of the things that kind of backed this album up at least a year is we all sat and we were making phone calls. We were talking to different distribution companies around the world, different publicists in all these different countries. And it was it was a whirlwind of information and problems to try to do this thing literally on your own. But we had a mutual friend introduce us to the Relapse guys. And they were so cool from the get-go to pretty much offer to do anything we wanted them to do at all. They were willing to just be involved if they could in any way. And, so we just wound up formulating this partnership with them. We get to use their kind of distribution network. I personally contacted the, Red, RED, which is, if almost anybody in America, big bands, everybody uses RED to distribute their record. And they're just not set up for, say John Tardy to call them up and say, hey, I got a couple boxes of CDs. Can I send them to you guys? And it's so far from the way it works. It's just crazy.
Right.
So being able to get partnered up, use Relapse's distribution network, use their marketing engine, and still maintain complete control of this music, own all the rights to this music. It has made for a very happy band. when we think back of what we did with Roadrunner, how if I wanted to go get a Slowly Rot record right now, I couldn't do anything with it if I wanted to. All those Roadrunner records to this day are just locked up in their control. And it's aggravating. You see them do the 2 furs, the 3 furs, 5 CDs for the price of 1, live CD, best of, all this stuff, and they just do it without any of our consent at all. And it's always frustrating, but at the same time, we learned a lot over the years, and we're in a really good spot right now. A lot to do with the Kickstarter people helping us out with that.
That's amazing. Now, Donald, when are you guys getting back together for the Tardy Brother album? Come on, now you gotta tell me that.
Well, we could not be more excited about a Tardy Brothers project. That's why we did the first one. We do have new songs that are written that we put them on the back burner right now because Obituary is the priority, and Obituary is keeping us very, very busy, which is a good thing. The minute John and I have a moment in the studio in between tours or in between some of these shows coming up, we constantly think of Tardy Brothers, and it's very exciting for us to write that type of song. And we're looking forward to these new songs and getting it out there eventually in the future for the fans that like the first album.
Amazing. Now, there's so many albums that you guys have worked together right from the beginning, be with the Obituary or even, your own Tardy Brother project. Now, there has to be one album that is closest to your heart. I know something, that's difficult to match the memorability and the quality of the album, whenever the band starts working on a new album.
Well, it's tough to, when you think back of, especially when you've been doing albums for as long as we now have, when you look back at our first album and how young we were and what we were doing at the time, literally still in high school, to where we are in our lives today, there's just been so much change during that time. True. You can go back to any particular album and you're like, okay, let's see, Slowly Rot. Well, that was done at the original Moore Sound. We were with, Alan, and we paid for that stuff ourselves when we started. It was done on 8 tracks. And then as you go through the years, we're at the newer Moore Sound, and then we did some albums down in Miami, so with a different producer. It's just, every album just has such different meaning in different parts of your life. It's just kind of hard to single them out. Slowly is an easy choice because, you can kind of, I remember where I was standing when I went out to the mailbox and got that first album the first time. Cracked it open, saw it, and that's just cool. You'll have that feeling again. But now you look at today, and literally we're just we're sitting here looking at the fact that we're recorded and produced and mixed this album all on our own. Right. And that's a whole new feeling, and other than just a songwriter to take it to the next level and be able to come up with what we did is pretty cool also. So.
Absolutely true. Now, how long has your goatee on your chin has grown, man? That's amazing.
It's 12 years in the making.
Oh my God, that's like a long time.
Yeah, it's a clip-on. Don't let them fool you.
Yeah.
I've been seeing it, guys. I saw the live footage as well. I'm like, man, he's been growing it for years and years, and it takes a lot of determination and patience to have that.
And my girlfriend says there's no commitment.
There you go. You're proving them wrong, isn't it?
That's right.
Wonderful, brother. Now, what about the touring schedule for the Obituary? You guys have been playing a lot of gigs, so I assume you guys will be booked for, the entire 2004 towards the end and maybe early 2015 as well?
Yeah, the plans and the scheduling right now is all being confirmed, and we could not be more excited. And more importantly, we are going to be a very busy band in this next year and a half. The immediate tour is obviously the Carcass tour, and then the Death to All DTA tour. Right. Those are the immediate ones that we're very excited about and planning for. And then, of course, we're thinking of Europe and the venue shows. So January, February, we head to Europe. And then other than that, it's everything. We want to go to every corner of the planet, including India. South America is being talked about right now. Asia, Australia is being planned right now. We are looking at a very busy schedule for Obituary.
That's wonderful. Now, before I end the interview, it is a must for me to know, both of you, which was your first illegal download? Now, let's break the ice. You guys have been there from decades and decades, so there must be one album you might have, chipped in, leaked or some sort of a download from internet.
Well, I'll be honest, and I'm speaking for myself and my brother, that we are not the people that are all over the internet streaming things and grabbing songs illegally or just to listen to one. But of course, back in the day, what was it, a decade ago when it all started, and it was an amazing idea that you could go and listen to a song before you actually want to buy the record. And for me, I started looking for the old stuff that I no longer could find, like old stuff, like old Sabbath or old Leonard Skinner or something that I used to have the vinyl, but my brother took it when he moved out and I didn't have it anymore. But neither one of us are big. Actually, I'll say zero. Right now, I don't even own a computer, so I am not that dude that does Spotify or streams for free. I find the albums that I love, which are very few and far between, and I own them. I physically have them in my hand, and I listen to them daily. For instance, Ronnie James Dio, Holy Diver. I own the album, and I listen to it almost every week religiously.
Right. That's amazing. Now, guys, you got to tell me Inked in Blood. Now, if I have to ask you to define it in just one sentence.
Heavy as a sack of donkey balls.
Oh, man, that was unexpected. Wonderful, guys. I had an honor having a chat with you.